Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, I feel great, man. Got in the car with a cool dude, man. Got along with him, man. He was telling me about his personal stuff and his kids and his family in the military and stuff like that. So we had a lot to talk about. That was a great ride over. Had a good night's sleep, even though my sickness was trying to flare up because they had the air on really cold in there, and my dumb self didn't adjust it till like 3 in the morning. So I woke myself up coughing and kind of having just more symptoms of the same flu. But I feel good right now, man. Woke up, I had a great breakfast. I think I found a sweet medium for my diet as it pertains to my appetite these days and how much oatmeal I need to be putting in the bowl versus what I've been doing all this time. So I expect for the pounds to come down, to be honest with you. Just losing healthy weight because I've been eating so much oats in the morning, just an absorbent amount, and letting my stomach just sit on that. So now that I got this newfound walking experience that I'm doing every day that I had kind of gotten away from throughout the course of this year, and different stuff I'm doing, it's kind of making it so that my diet ain't where it needs to, the appetite isn't where it used to be. So that's what I'm experiencing right now, is just feeling fuller sooner, which is a good thing. Definitely enjoyed watching the Laker game last night. It was fantastic seeing my team get a victory to start the season for the first time since 16. So I encourage everybody who likes the Lakers to check out my reaction to that. I really had a blast. Every moment of that was fun. Yeah, checked out of the room on time. Hopefully they give me all of my deposit, and we'll see how that goes. And there's no bad thoughts. They got a room over here set up for me. I can't check in until noon, but that's okay because I'm still waiting on my uncle to send the extra 100 for the deposit into my account, and so that ultimately keeps me from getting all of my money. But I am going to walk down to Target right now and try to use their ATM, which will allow me to pull out money from both my account and also the GR account, and then maybe I'll just put it back in there so that I can pay her right away. Or by the time I get there, maybe my uncle will send over the 100 so that I won't have to touch the GR. But whatever the case may be, I'm walking to Target to get the money. So hopefully that everything remains equal in that situation. But yeah, man, I ain't got no complaints, bro. No complaints, sis. I'm happy. Talked to my uncle. My uncle was saying that my grandfather was having some dizzy spells this morning. Every time he sits down, he feels dizzy. So they're trying to get a hold of the doctor today, try to get him in and see what the heck is going on with that. But we're keeping our prayers and our positivity going, and for the betterment of my grandfather, and leave everything in God's hands. And that's really what it's about, remaining positive. We understand my grandfather's older, so some complications are just expected. But at the same time, my curiosity is, if he didn't start having that problem before we took him to that rehab center, why is he having them now? He's coming back from being there. So that's a curiosity for me. But I didn't ask that question to my uncle. Did they give him some type of medication or something? I don't know. So that's just my wonder. But yeah, man. All things equal, I feel pretty good, man. My body feels solid. Still a little congested, but I feel better this morning. And yeah, man, I think the rest of my thoughts just have to do with getting settled into this unit over here. And once that happens, then I can kind of sigh a breath of relief. But it's been a good morning so far, man. God's been taking care of everything as he always does. And I'm very thankful that they have a room available for me. Now I just got to get all the cash out to make sure I can pay for it. So that's pretty much it, man. Yesterday was a good day. I bought my seasoning that I said I wanted to buy, and got myself some grapes, and they were priced so dang expensive. I will never buy grapes at Whole Foods ever again. The exact same type of grapes I get from Target, just priced up big time. So that is a no-go. But I slept well. The room smelled kind of funny, I ain't gonna lie. I guess the person who was in there before me was heavy on the body odor, so that's kind of the smell that I had in my nose all night long. I wasn't very pleased with that. But aside from that, I slept well, no complaints. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is, man. A whole lot to talk about in regards to myself. Just in the presence of waiting for my uncle to send that over. I haven't checked in about an hour, so he might have already done that. So, you know, I'm very thankful as always for my family helping me in this situation, praying for a way out of it, or a way so that I can pay them back every coin, and make it right. So I don't know where that would be coming from at this point. Can't see it, but there's a lot of things I couldn't see, and the Lord made it happen. There was a lot of things that didn't seem possible that the Lord has already done. So I'm thankful for all of it, and my faith leads the way. So that's pretty much all I want to say, man. I got some more basketball talk I want to do, but I'll probably do that on the way out of Target, because I know if I get started right now, it'll lead me past the time I get there, because it's only like 5 minutes away. So yeah, man, all eyes on Rafa. This morning was no exception for any other. More tough stuff. You see the little kids. The footage that's going around this morning was a little girl who was crying as she was walking, and she was essentially saying that her foot hurt and that it was bleeding. The baby looked like she was about 3 or 4 years old. But they're forced to be strong. You know, that's what it really comes down to. The occupied forces that are looking to annihilate them are forcing their children into not really having much childhood at all. They've spent their life on the run, in fear, waiting to be bombed. And, you know, we know of this in different countries and situations. People have kids doing war, you know, holding guns at that age. Like, it's crazy in the world. America is afforded a reality that doesn't tell the truth about what everybody's going through. And I think that's why I find it very necessary to just say stuff like this on my camera. For all of us Westerners who think the world we're in is the world everyone else is in, I just think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we often make, you know. And we think so strongly of things that go wrong in our lives because we have no sense of reality for what others people are going through that's so much worse. And I think that could have a lot of different effects on our psychology if we have a bit more closeness to the realities of other people's sufferings. I do think we'll handle our own sufferings with a bit more strength. Stuff that makes you want to check out or fall into drugs or whatever. If you were constantly reminded of the realities that others are going through, there are some people, maybe not everybody, but some people who just won't feel as down about their circumstances when they realize how privileged they are in comparison to others. But because we in this country and our government does such a effective job of allowing us to stay in this little bubble, when things become in comparison just remotely uncomfortable or unfortunate, we think it's the worst thing in the world, and that scope can fail us of the strength that ultimately would be present just for having a broader scope in the understanding of levels of suffering. And that's something I've been giving some thought to lately. If I knew more and was closer to how bad things really get, I would never feel as bad about whatever I'm going through. And we need to start normalizing helping people understand how bad it is out there. And those of us who follow this genocide and follow other things that are going on in countries that are not as fortunate as us, who are likely affected by our intentions as Americans to be on top, a lot of those sufferings and those unfortunate circumstances are because of us. And we are none the wiser in a lot of cases. Many of us don't know what the heck our country has done to keep us in this place of privilege and ultimate prisms of what we think is fortunate and unfortunate. To keep us above ridiculous suffering, they forced others into ridiculous suffering. And so that's what I'm here to help people understand if they don't already know it. That you are in fact funding a genocide, that if you vote for either one of the main candidates, a week from now or 2 weeks from now, whenever that election is coming, you are in fact supporting a genocide. And that's not just a talking point that a bunch of people can just say, and it sounds cute to try to get people to not vote for people. No, that's actually what both of the candidates are intentional on upholding, is Israel's right to commit genocide, ethnic cleansing, Holocaust, targeting of children and annihilating them, sending them to their graves before they're old enough to walk in a lot of cases. This is the reality. Maybe a foreign reality to those of us who are not close to these circumstances, but second nature understanding for those of us who are paying close attention to it. That understanding is important for every American to understand, because you have a part in it. When you vote this upcoming election, you have a part in it when you pay your taxes on any level. You have a part in it when you turn a blind eye to people who are trying to express it to you, like myself right now. You are in fact killing. And you need to understand that. And so I want people to know and normalize the denormalization of those people's suffering. Just like you would want nobody to sit back and be comfortable with you suffering. You definitely don't want to sit back and be comfortable with other people suffering, especially children. And we call ourselves family people, humanitarians, good people, family people, whatever the word would be if we call ourselves, and then we sit back and let people die because of who they are and where they're at. Let people suffer, not just die, but just flat out suffer because of who they are and who's against them that may be in power in our situation. We need to hold those powers that be accountable. We need to normalize the shunning of those who want to normalize the suffering of those people over there. That it is not okay to just continue going about business as usual. That it is not politics, but a human rights and a moral and ethics conversation. That Palestinian people are not to be discarded of, no different than your people or my people. And that we should not be okay with them suffering just because somebody we believe in has told us they are bad people. You need to do your own due diligence instead of allowing that to be a determining factor for whether or not you care if their children suffer or not. That's what I need to tell each and every soul that listens to me. Just because somebody you trusted has told you that these are bad people does not mean that you are a good person for championing the suffering of them. Because what if the people that are telling you that are wrong or intentional or lying to all of you so that you will coincide with that? And that what if is real, but from your perspective, it's just a safe thing to say, what if? For those of us who are not following this thing, that what if is a difference between being on the right side of history and ultimately being complicit to genocide and being remembered for that. So I've been trying to raise awareness. I will continue to try my best. I know a lot of what it is I say falls on deaf ears. I don't have the biggest voice, but I think I speak to some people who can do something about this, maybe even some people who are funding this with the intention of thinking that they're good people for doing so. You are not. Don't be confused. You are not. If you're championing Israel in this process, based on the things that I've been paying attention to daily for the last year and some change, you're actually an awful human being. Do with that what you will. I wish the best for anybody who's willing to change their mind about things like this. I don't care what you think of a bad guy in this world. Killing a child is a hell of a presumptuous thing in regards to trying to find defense within it. You're presuming that kid's gonna be a terrorist. You're presuming that kid's gonna come back and create problems. That you are so certain of that betrays your reputation. It betrays you completely, really, when you consider how many enemies you create by thinking that way. But even more so, it gives those kids no chance to turn into something that you're giving them no chance to turn into. Whatever the heck they are going to be without the presence of you supporting their genocide. We don't assume anything is going to be just as it is, not if we're intelligent enough to pay attention to all the angles. The world can change, people can move around, weather can change. It's a lot of things that can literally change, that can change the trajectory of what it is we're paying attention to as it pertains to what we're just so certain is going to happen. You probably were certain something was going to go a certain way in 2020, and then the pandemic hit and changed everything about what it is you were looking at for that year, no matter how certain it looked. And if that variable is even in the remote back of your mind, then you should have that variable in mind when assessing things that you're just so certain are going to be. Hence the idea that people are so certain that kids are going to grow up to be terrorists. I think that presumptuous intention lacks a great deal of critical thought and would otherwise not be something that a lot of people work into their equation when considering other factors. But as it pertains to the idea that kids are going to grow up to be a certain thing specifically that needs to be stopped, they just allow their minds to go there, stay there, and not consider certain other aspects. Minds that are more than capable of thinking of more choose not to. That's a conscious decision, in my opinion. So that's what I'm here to tell all of you guys. Let's make the conscious decision to work into the equation the possibility of things not going the way we just think it could or should or may or look as if it's going to go. Especially as it pertains to what your opinion is toward the fates of people who are not even old enough to read as of yet. And for those who are willing to walk toward you and tell you that we need to be proactive in stopping terrorism, if their intention is to terrorize children in order to effectively do that, then remember the conversation we had here. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching.